Daycares in Alabama can now reopen, and up in Tennessee, child care centers have been working to figure out the best ways to keep kids safe while their parents are back to work. Rachel Teed reports from Nashville.
Daycare services were considered essential, but some decided to close and are reopening in phases.
Things look a little different at Creative Care Center these days. Teachers walking kids out to their parents to minimize exposure inside. This is just one of the recommendations the CDC has when it comes to keeping kids safe. Wearing masks is another one.
I never even thought a 2-year-old would put a mask on, but we've got one running around having a blast, and the mom's made like a different mask for every day to make it a little exciting.
Over at the children's playroom in Westmead, things are a little different. Employees were wearing masks there today, but the kids weren't.
We don't require them to wear masks. I think for some children, they would probably yank them off if they could anyway. It'd just be such a diversion.
They do have policies requiring temperature screenings, washing hands, and cleaning toys as soon as a child finishes playing with it. The Tennessee Department of Human Services recommends that groups be limited to 10 or less, and as much as possible, keep the groups the same every day. It also recommends having hand hygiene stations at the entrance of the facility. Both places we went to today had hand sanitizer by the door. And overall, parents at both facilities said they felt the safety measures were enough.
A lot of good measures. They're wiping things down.
I feel very comfortable with bringing my son here.